Davies is the spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross in Israel, and she joins us now live from occupied East Jerusalem. Sarah, great to have you on the programme. We just heard there live from Gaza from Nizar, the aid coming in is not enough. And just on that specific issue there of what's happening in Rafah, 1.1 million people, you know these numbers, you know this better than I do, but just that point that the people that are there in Khan Yunis, the governorate on top of Rafah, will be coming down to Rafah. More and more people squeezed into that tiny area there in Rafah. What challenges does that pose for your work?
Thank you so much for having me. As you said, there's so many people that are already in Rafah and more on their way. They don't have anywhere else to go, and they are continuing to move south in the hopes that they can be safe from the current conflict that we're seeing, the ongoing armed hostilities. The sheer number of people that are currently in Rafah in the south create challenges in and of itself. Mm-hmm. How can you supply aid to over 1.5 million people in an active conflict? We know that the South was not set up for this type of population. It does not have the infrastructure, things like sanitation facilities, the health facilities, the shelters for people to live there properly. The aid that is coming in is not enough to meet the very desperate needs of families and individuals and entire communities. People don't have enough food. They don't have access to clean water or hygiene or sanitation facilities. We know that people have lived through nearly 3 months now of sometimes continual displacement, always the ever-present fear of the situation and what tomorrow will bring.
Absolutely.
This creates so many challenges in order to effectively distribute the aid to those who really need it with so many different needs.
Absolutely. And you raised so many important points there, Sarah. And there's a line that Nizar said this morning, and well, he said it 2 days ago, actually, and it just really plays again and again in my head that a tent is a luxury right now. A tent is a luxury. It's cold right now. And he also said that about 200,000 people don't have tents. And as you say, no running water, thousands of people to one toilet. We could go on. It's just no food as well. But with everything you have to deal with, how do you prioritize right now, given also that it is winter?
As you say, it is devastating that this is the situation that people are now living through, where a tent is a luxury. Some people, unfortunately, only have plastic on some wooden sticks. Some people have nothing at all. For us, one of the main priorities right now is the health needs in Gaza. This really encompasses so many different elements. Public health, things like when it rains, the sewage systems are not able to pump and they flood. This can cause infectious diseases. As we just discussed, the number of people in small, confined areas with nowhere else to go can also increase the speed and the rapidity at which these diseases spread. Of course, there are severely wounded people, people with severe burns who are attending medical facilities that are still operational, but we also know that there are not many functioning hospitals left in Gaza, unfortunately. We at the International Committee of the Red Cross have a surgical team in a hospital in the south who are working all hours of the day to provide support, but babies are still being born. People still have chronic diseases and long-term illnesses. People still need follow-up post-operative care after the immediate medical needs have been attended to. People don't have the proper nutrition. And there's so many aspects of life in Gaza right now, which really needs medical support, public health support. And what we are seeing is that the current medical system is unfortunately in a state of almost collapse.
Absolutely. Now let's look at the Gaza Strip, and as we've been focusing on right now in this conversation, Rafah, so many people there, more than half the population of Gaza there. How many of your trucks are getting into Rafah right now? And also, how many of your trucks, of your aid are going to the north? Because these are areas up there in the north where no aid was getting to for a very long time. And I'm not quite sure just how much has actually reached there.
So at this time, of course, we do still have trucks that are entering. I think it's really important, as you mentioned, the north, to note that regardless of how much aid does enter, of course, we are calling for unimpeded and a sustained flow. More does need to enter. But if this aid cannot be effectively and safely distributed to all the civilians in Gaza who need it, it does not have the impact. At this time, our teams do not have the security conditions because of the ongoing armed hostilities to access civilians in the north. We are calling for restraint from all parties to this conflict so that civilians who are sheltering in hospitals that no longer function in the north, in areas of the middle, can receive humanitarian aid. These people have been trapped and they have nowhere to go. They don't feel it's safe to move and leave to go to the south to receive aid. So what is really needed is unimpeded and safe distribution of aid. And for that, we need the parties to the conflict to exercise restraint so that ourselves and other humanitarian organizations, other aid organizations can do their work effectively and support civilians with the assistance that they desperately need.
Absolutely, Sarah. So many challenges right now in front of you and your work and so many other aid organisations. We wish you the very best. Thank you so much for speaking to us today at TRT World. That's Sarah Davies, spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross in Israel. Thank you so much.